We're going to welcome the newest member of the G team as you watch him walk through. Big Bear hit ball far. Welcome back, Bear Jones. Welcome back to the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
Don't hurt him. Big Bear hit ball far. I used that line the other day on a different show, actually.
Oh.
Just like that? You said it just like that?
Just like that. Twice. That's when you went big fly twice. Yeah, and then you went horns down. Loved that. That was a great thing. Welcome back. We've had you on before. You are now a salty vet here at LSU, newest member of the G team. Tell me a little bit about what makes that partnership so special for you.
Yeah, so going back to last year, guys like Gavin Guidry, Cade Beloso, Dugas, and Trey Morgan all signed with them. And when I was talking to them about it, just the impact that it had on them with the community, with Baton Rouge and even the whole state of Louisiana. Not being from Louisiana and being from Georgia, anything I could do to give back to the state that I'm going to call home for 3 to 4 years is important to me. And so Gordon is helping me doing that.
They've done a really good job. Obviously, we've become real tight with the G team, and Watson, Jeff over here has taken the spot of the other G team member, Ramsey Barfield. Ramsey got Wally Pipp, so now Ramsey's no longer goes on the show. So you're surrounded by a lot of good guys. We've been very fortunate to have a partnership. I'm very happy for y'all to be able to do it. Let's get into the baseball conversation though, right? Last year we had you on here, and we talked about some of the things that you wanted to do to better yourself as a baseball player. Some of the things that sometimes you got caught yourself looking at the numbers. Sometimes you caught yourself kind of getting caught up in something that may be not going the way you wanted it to go, right? You finished last year. You won the World Series. You come back knowing you're going to have a major role on this team, but also knowing there's some things that you wanted to do to better yourself as a baseball player. Obviously, you have done that, right? You've worked your ass off through the offseason until now and continuing to work your ass off to put yourself in a position to be your best self. What are some of those adjustments that you made, and how do you feel that you've kind of started the season?
Yeah, I think from a mental standpoint, like talking to Coach Johnson, he's gotten me in with sports psychiatrists and stuff and talking to them. He does a great job of bringing in speakers to talk to the whole team about this kind of idea of surrendering the result and just committing to the process. And I know that's like super cliche to say, but I mean, it's kind of that simple.
Right.
I think once you get a better understanding of like, hey, baseball is not a game that you can go and perfect. It's not something that you can go and just be amazing at all the time. So if you're going to play this game for a long time, you have to be in the right state of mind at all times playing. So that was like the first thing for me, was making sure that no matter how my day was going, I was the same person, same attitude on and off the field. And then physical adjustments, just the more repetition I got with seeing spin, the more at-bats I got off 95-plus arms. I went up to the Cape this summer. I struggled, but I stuck it out because that's 60 more at-bats that I wouldn't have had without it. Throughout the fall, I'm facing one of the best pitching staffs in the country. That's 100 more at-bats off of really good arms. So now just starting to get into season, it's all these reps of, good college at-bats against good arms is kind of catching up, and it's just taking that with me with some confidence from the middle game.
Dude, so I'm glad you're talking about the middle game of this thing, because that's obviously, as we know, baseball's tough, man, and it is a mental grind day in and day out all the time. Habits are created over time, so is there ever a time you catch yourself kind of drifting back into maybe some of the old mindsets? And if you do, how do you get yourself back to where you are right now, to where you're committed and focused and staying on the process?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like this weekend even, I had a good weekend by a lot of standards, but, the last 2 games I had 2 punch-outs each game. So in those at-bats, I kind of catch myself getting back into that, effort mentality. And so just for me, going back like into the tunnel, or at LSU, our locker room is like, right behind the dugout. So you can go back in there, and I just kind of like go in there. It's a place where nobody else is in. You got to clear your mind. If you got to say a couple words, say a couple words. But it's not on TV. It's not in front of teammates. It's in a controlled space where no one can see me, get it out, and then it's right back to playing.
I think people forget that they feel like once you figured out the mental game, right? For one, you never figure it out, right? Like it's always a work in progress. And I think people forget that, hey, once you do well with it, it's easy. It's not really, it's always a work in progress. It's not easy, right? Because the bad habits or the things that kind of creep back into your mind always are trying to come back. And it's up to you, us as players, to be able to keep them back there and keep them at bay. And, you know, the fact that you have some mechanisms to be able to do that, I think is a huge step forward. I didn't have those in college. Like I didn't really focus on that until it was probably too late. Some may call me a mental midget. I don't know if I can say that, but you know,
I think it's just a turn of phrase.
He just likes good weather, dude. Sometimes just got to be good.
Sometimes maybe a mental liability at times. You know, sometimes. So I get
summer. That. You know, just got to good weather.
Wait for the weather to heat up.
You know, but you know, some of those mechanisms obviously you go in there and you clear your mind. You know, so it's good to hear that you have those types of things. This weekend, though, you hit a couple big homers, and you're starting to show. We've seen it. You know, we've got to know your dad a little bit. We got to know you a little bit. And we got to see your personality. But people see you on the field, and you're this enormous human being and kind of scary looking on the field. But you're starting to show your personality a little bit, right? Called your homer on camera, which was awesome. Fire. Awesome. And then you come down, stomp on home plate, horns down. Who the hell is going to tell you something, right? After that, like, is that just because you're a lot more comfortable with where you're at? You've kind of got 2 years under your belt, and you just kind of feel like, okay, it's time for me to kind of like show my personality. You're okay doing that?
Man, I don't know. Like,
I love it.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to have fun. Like,
and that's it.
I think that keeps me in the best mental state when playing baseball. It's just how much fun can I have playing. So, like, you know, we were up big against Stony Brook, and they had, you know, made that TikTok and all that. But it was more of just like, hey, I just caught Dawson out of the corner of my eye recording, and I just like kind of like peeked at him like, hey, I'm on a homer right here. Just as a joke, and I was lucky to get to a 3-1 count. And I was just like, it's a 3-1 count. I'm gonna let loose here. It was lucky enough to hit a home run. And then against Texas, I mean, I think that's
a big hit.
Yeah, that's a big hit. You know, Tommy had hit one early in the inning, and he was pretty pumped up about it. We got super hyped in the dugout. I mean, I don't want to say it, but like, it's like our first test of the year.
Right.
That's Texas.
No, absolutely.
You know, that's two of the best programs in the country on a major league field in the seventh inning of a ball game. So, you know, and honestly, I've hit a couple home runs this year, but none like that where it was backside.
I mean, that was about as pure as you're like that. That one's probably the best one you've hit all year. Probably the best one you probably in your mind.
It's the best swing I've seen you take.
I mean, that's
purple and gold.
That's a deep right center field 3-run. Boomba to opposite field. That's
over the bullpens.
Yeah,
into the
you can't really draw it up.
You had a kid trying to kill himself to get the ball.
I saw that on the video. So yeah, I was just and then I just blacked out, and I think I hit like every celebration in the book.
like the football guy from Southern.
Yeah.
You saw that. Hey, can you talk about that feeling a little bit? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, like, it doesn't matter how much pop anyone has. Like, I can watch a lot of people hit pull-side homers, and it is what it is, right? But when you start, and I'm not saying you've never have before. That's not at all what I'm saying. But that ball you hit in Minute Maid Park was something different, right? When you unlock the swing where you're doing that in the game, what's that feeling like? Because that's different than just hitting straight pull-side balls, too.
Yeah, it definitely is. I just feel like, and it carried on to my next at-bat, it's just like, at that point, if the pitcher's, you know, you throw 94, 95, it doesn't matter. I can still hit the ball the other way with the fastball. So for me, I was just able to stay on pitches better. So that led to staying on a curveball my next at-bat and doing the same thing and hitting it ground or double to right center. So for me, it's just more of now because I can go the other way, I can see the ball longer. Because I can see the ball longer, I can decide whether it's a strike or a ball better. And then from there, it's just taking a short, tight swing and being able to trust myself to go that way.
You talked about this being y'all's first true test, right? Y'all started the season off. I talked about it with Jay a little earlier. Y'all started the season off with kind of a unconventional schedule 4-game series to start the season against 2 teams, right? So you're not playing teams consecutively. Next series, 4 games series against 2 different teams. And you go and you play a tournament-style series against 3 separate teams you're not probably going to see again. Maybe you'll see I guess, one more time throughout the course of the year.
Maybe a regional.
And then maybe in a regional, right, postseason. So this weekend was probably y'all's biggest test. What have you seen from the guys on the team? You were on the team last year. Obviously, you won national championship. Now you're coming on a new team. A lot of guys are trying to kind of replace other guys in their roles and kind of step up. What have you seen from the guys on this team and the team so far early in the year?
Yeah, I mean, like Friday night, I remember walking out of the tunnel and like, there's 30,000 people.
Yeah, that was sick.
And it's sick, and it gets you pretty nervous. And, you know, you're playing Texas, and it's their Friday night guys. So I think, you know, a lot of us that were on the team last year experienced that in Omaha, facing, you know, guy from Wake Forest, Rhett Lauder, and then the 2 starters from Florida. So they got a taste of that. So the guys that, you know, freshmen and then the transfers, obviously, that's their first taste of, like, we're playing in front of a big crowd in a big league ballpark. Like, this is big boy baseball now. This is what SEC play is going to feel like when we go to Mississippi State and Arkansas. So, I mean, like, Friday night, I think Braswell had 2 really big hits in that game. Mm-hmm. And for him, you know, I know Founders Park is a really great park, but for him to be at a place like that, get 2 big hits, play great defense, for him, that's going to grow his confidence. That's going to help our pitchers trust him behind him, and then everything starts falling into place. Paxton Kling had a great weekend as well, had some great plays in the outfield. Like, if we're going to be strong up the middle, Brady caught well, Alex catches well, Hayden catches well, we're going to be good up the middle, and then, you know, we're going to play good defense and take quality ABs.
You're obviously not the old guy, but you have a year more of experience than the freshmen and our guys who have not played in what's going to be this conference and obviously at the box, right? What are you able to give to those guys with a year more of experience that maybe you wish you would have gotten last year, or maybe you didn't get until later in the year, however it went? What are you able to give to those young guys?
Yeah, I just try and, you know, cut it up with them as much as possible. I think when guys, like, sometimes because, you know, freshmen don't play as much, they can sometimes, like, you know, get down on themselves for why am I not starting? And I'm not saying that anybody has, but the more that you can be like an uplifter, hey, you know, be on the energy bus and pick guys up, I think the more that just helps the dugout and guys who aren't playing that day. And then for me, I just like when you get that chance, it's not make or break. If you go up there and your first pinch hit at bat of the day and you strike out on 3 pitches, that doesn't mean you're never going to pinch hit again. And if you go up there and hit a home run on the first pitch, that doesn't mean you're going to start the next day. So I think just understanding that Coach Johnson has a plan for everybody and that, you know, we all have our roles on this team, and that's what it's going to take to be a successful team again.
Does that go from the top down? Because it feels like it does. There's a lot of baseball players that obviously are looking for like one opportunity, and then it feels like you can ingratiate yourself in the lineup. But when it comes to LSU, whether it be pitching, catching, or even in the lineup where you can have a guy that bats third and didn't play the next day, is that something that y'all start on like day one of, look, we're going to do this a little bit a different way. I need you to buy in, and if you're not in, then there's really not a spot for you. But if you buy in, there's always going to be an opportunity for you to play.
Absolutely. I think from day one of the fall, Coach Johnson makes that very clear that even on last year's team, which was one of the best college baseball teams of all time, opening day lineup was not the same as the last lineup on Game 3 in Omaha. So, and it's going to be the same this year. Whatever we start with is not necessarily what we're going to end with. We're going to have injuries on the pitching staff. We're going to have injuries on position players. We're going to have guys that are banged up, guys that are not hot, guys that are hot. So just understanding that baseball is one of those games with ebbs and flows, and you just got to ride it out as long as you can.
I think another thing that I don't know if people have really touched on, people have mentioned it, obviously, I'm sure you've heard it. You are not only taking a bigger role in the lineup, right? You're taking a bigger role in the defensive side, right? Trey Morgan was the first baseman for 3 years. He was really good defensively. You were making that move to the everyday first baseman. How has that transition been? Because you came here as a catcher. I'd imagine you played some infield in your lifetime. I did not.
Oh, this is first baseman to first baseman.
I did not. I had one start at first base. It was not good. So I understand how hard first base is to play, right? Especially you've never done it before. But you're making that adjustment. You've played great at first. Have you done anything specifically to kind of get you ready for that?
Josh Jordan, he's our recruiting coordinator, and he does a lot of work with the catchers and fielders as well. And I guess because I came in as a catcher, me and him had a great relationship, and so now he works with me on first base stuff. For the most part, I mean, we just work on like simple drills, footwork around the bag. He'll get out there and hit me some fungos, turn into, and then picks on first base.
Have you played first before this year?
A little bit. Like my senior year of high school, I would catch 2 games, play first, the third one. So I'd been familiar there, but I think I was catching guys who threw 80 miles an hour across the diamond. Now, like last year, catching JT, who, I mean, he can run up to 97, 99 across the diamond with sink, and then
late sink,
really late action.
Yeah, and it's got 130 feet to sink, so it's not as easy as it seems. So this year, Brass has a great arm. He was a pitcher in high school, so him, and he can drop it down from any arm angle he wants. So just getting the feel for it and being comfortable with my guys.
What's the hardest thing at first base? I'll tell you, I whiffed on a pickoff, by the way.
Pickoffs are
right.
impossible.
People don't think that. People think, oh, just get no. You're not.
Because pitchers are so geared up, and they just turn and throw it.
And they hum that thing.
And they have no idea where it's going.
Yeah.
How much are your knees?
See, that makes you feel better.
How much are your knees thanking you right now?
A lot.
I bet. NIL has been a topic of conversation around NCAA, around colleges, everywhere. I think it's a good thing. I think that there needs to be obviously some regulation. I'm not going to ask you about that. But for you, what has NIL meant for you to be able to you said give back to the community. You said be able to give yourself, opportunities to do things that in years past college athletes weren't able to do. How important has NIL been for you?
Very important. I think, I'll make a funny joke, but like NCAA football coming back, that's exciting. So
bring back NCAA college baseball. What are you
no
talking
doubt,
about?
Huh?
Yes.
But like growing up, I had 4 siblings that all played college athletics, and I know that my sisters and brother all had jobs over the summer. Like my brother played summer ball his freshman year, but his sophomore and junior he had jobs. I think he worked at like a Home Depot one year to help pay for school.
Right.
So watching them go through that and me being afforded the luxuries of
Home Depot would love you.
Nice little back brace and be good to go, baby.
But just being able to have the privilege of coming to a school like LSU to capitalize on NIL deals and stuff like that, and be able to be comfortable with where I'm at is huge for me. And so just having older siblings pave the way for me has been huge, and so helping them out any way I can.
Jeff, this one's for you. We talked a little bit last week about, was it last week? Yeah, it was last week. A little bit last week about NIL and the new ruling that they had. Yeah. Right? And we got into a pretty deep conversation about what that means for the NCAA. You have an update on that for us.
So NCAA president responded. He
Everybody
responded.
hear your voice.
Yeah,
Voice.
and he sent out basically a letter to everyone, kind of telling them that the NCAA is not dead. But let me tell you what's going on. So the things that stayed in place was the no pay for play. So you can't do if you get 10 rebounds or if you hit a bomb, I'm going to pay you. So
no incentives.
No incentives. Quid pro quo, which means you have to do something for the money. So you just can't say, I'll give you $100,000 to go to LSU.
What's considered something?
You got to do a deliverable, which is what we kind of do.
Which would be a home run.
Our athletes. So
right,
they do stuff like.
But you can any type of deliverable. Like you could say, hey, I need you to walk by this place for 5 minutes and shake a hand and leave.
Exactly.
Right?
You have to have some value in it.
But not a home run, which has a ton of value.
That's right. You cannot do.
That's pay for play.
It's a deliverable.
Deliverable. That's what we call them. The other thing was direct institutional payment. LSU can't pay the NIL stuff. So he kind of laid that out and said, these 3 things are still in place, and we're working with the attorney generals and the other attorneys to try to come up. What they're trying to do is come out of the antitrust laws. So over history, certain groups, unions, professional organizations have gotten exempt status outside of the antitrust laws, because that's what's really harming them right now. And so I expect a lot to be happening with the NCAA tournament attorneys trying to get Congress to get them out of those antitrust laws.
What do you think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to get them out?
I think there's going to be a lot of change.
It feels like this is the last.
It's not going to go back to what it was before. I think there's going to be some kind of middle ground that they're going to come up with that still allows the athletes to, make their
profit.
Money and exactly.
Well, I'm glad we got the G team doing the NIL the right way.
That's right.
Deliverables. This is a great deliverable.
That's right.
Right. We've had him on without the G team. It's better with the G team.
Yeah.
Look, I got the G team baseball. You got the G team shirt.
Yep.
That's. I think.
Got his 888 hat on. He's got it all.
Well, yeah.
He's got his over there.
I got one over here. I'll put this right here. Right there. We all got it.
Which he did win an award for that.
He did win
an
award.
Advertising award called the Addy Awards.
Yeah.
They had that like
Congratulations.
2 weeks ago. So yeah.
Congratulations.
Gordon come up with that and got
First
him
one that won the
award.
Billboard.
So
First one that won the Billboard.
But yeah, so like I said, I'm all for it, and I think it's a great thing. I think that there needs to be some sort of parameters.
Structure.
Just everybody needs to be playing on the same playing field, and hopefully this is a step in that direction. I'm not very confident that the NCAA is going to really figure this thing out.
Yeah.
Something else needs to happen. I think a higher power. Someone needs to come back. Nick Saban needs to go and run that thing. And say, this is how it needs to be structured. I don't know. Someone like that. We're thankful for that. Obviously, we are super thankful for you, having you here. Lloyd, do you have any more?
No, all good.
Any brain busters?
No. Could have been a lawyer. Decided not to. Stuck it out here for you fellas. I'm wondering that more and more as we go
I don't
through
think
this.
we're the only people that need to thank you. I think the world probably needs to thank you for not becoming an attorney.
888-8888.
I don't know that. I definitely don't know if Gordon's hiring you. I definitely.
Hey, if Ramsey can get a spot.
That's true. That's true.
Ramsey.
Ramsey got the right timing.
Yeah, you just don't
Right
even have
It's all about timing
It's
sometimes.
all about timing.
He knows what we mean.
Right timing.
What's the test?
Before I let you go, I do want to ask you a little bit about the staff, right? Because you talked about you faced one of the best pitching staffs in the country in the fall, and I think we're starting to see that. Obviously, Jay made kind of a change in the rotation structure. He came out and said, "Look, we have 3 aces. We have 3 guys in the rotation that can all be Friday night guys." It was just the way it worked out this weekend, and Holman has thrown lights out. Like, he obviously has earned the right to throw on a Friday. It doesn't mean anybody else is not as good as him, or he's that much better than everyone else. He was pitching really well. But then you have Gage Jump, who threw lights out, and you had Thatcher, who had his best game of the year on Sunday. How deep, you've seen it firsthand, how deep is y'all's pitching staff? And I personally think it's deeper than people even realize.
I do too. We have a lot of lefties, and Coach Johnson likes to mix and match with those guys. So like, you might only see a lefty like one time a weekend and be like, oh, so he's not a guy,
right.
But he is a guy. He just matched up well with that lefty. So I think it's a ton of depth. I mean, Sammy Dutton didn't even throw this weekend.
Right.
And
he's been one of the better guys on the pen.
He's one of our better guys out of the pen. Didn't need him to throw this weekend.
Right.
That's because we hit well, but we pitched really well against Texas, ULL, and against – I mean, Texas State, they put up, 5 was it? But
late, right?
It was late. I mean, guys were check swinging. It was a weird 5.
Yeah. Kind of running their mouth a little bit, I heard. That's what Jay said. They're chirping.
Right?
They try, and y'all chirp back, which y'all should. And umpires seemed like it was
Everybody should have
one-sided.
learned from Stony Brook after the old Get the Gat celebration. It's like, all right, you woke up the beat.
First of all, the Get the Gat celebration was 5 years too late.
Yeah. And it was football.
And it was 2019.
It was only football,
It was
too.
the best team in the history of college football.
They could've hit the Tommy.
Relax. Yeah. It wasn't like y'all been doing good. That would have been more relevant, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
it woke up the beast or the bear.
The bear. It woke up the bear, which I loved. Right? I love a little bit of the chirping back and forth. But the depth isn't just on the mound. It's in the position groups too, right? All the position players. It feels like Jay is throwing guys in there every single game, And it's like he feels like they're playing 14, 15, 16 guys a day, and he's really only playing 9. But everybody is getting their opportunity to play, and every time, whenever they get in there, they're ready to go, right? Talk about how talented the young guys are, especially offensively.
Yeah, it's big for us. I think Coach Johnson says it all the time. He's like, we don't have enough spots on the field for the position players that need to get at bats, but. You know, I did it a little bit last year of being a role guy, of, you know, getting an at bat here and there, and I think it's tough to stick with it because, you know, you're not getting consistency out of it. But I think I like how well they're handling it as they're embracing their at bats and just taking them with, you know, as they come, and not getting frustrated at the fact that like they might get one a game or one a weekend. But they're making the most of their opportunity.
I think you're the perfect test case for it. As somebody that kind of went through the exact same ringer, and then look at what you're doing this year. Like if you stick with the program, look at what you're able to do 1 year later, where you're a fixture in the lineup.
Absolutely.
I feel like both of y'all are pretty good examples of that.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Jay, you had one?
Yeah, dude. So when you're able to sit there and play defense behind what you guys have had on the mound, right? And for me, it's one thing to see, like, you having a guy that's 89 and 92 and you know, like, hey, if he's on, we got a good chance. Or you have a guy that's 95 but he has absolutely no clue where it's going, right? With the quality of arms that y'all have and their ability to just compete, whether they're on or whether they're not, to just compete, how big is that for y'all to be able to have quicker innings, to be able to get on and off the field and translate that kind of, I guess, defensive play into what y'all are able to do offensively?
Well, I think Texas on Friday, I think they grounded out one time. So I didn't really do much that game. I think they struck out 20 times. And
I forgot they did struck
out 20. So playing, Luke Coleman was lights out that night.
That's easy.
It's almost
catch
like,
it around the horn.
Yeah, you're just throwing it around. And I don't even touch the ball on that. So I'm literally just sitting there going.
Yeah, making sure the outfield
yeah.
2 down.
Catching the ball from the dugout.
You know, rolling ground balls in between. That was pretty much it. UL, Gage was the same way. He was pitching to contact, getting guys. He's got a good ride fastball, so he gets a lot of pop-ups. Thatcher's the same way, so he got a lot of fly balls. But I think Texas State put the ball in play. They had a better approach, I thought, and were able to put the ball in play. And so, but that gets guys action, keeps them in the game. Yeah. Then Braswell's locked in at shortstop because he's locked in at shortstop. Now he's got confidence at the plate,
right? And
now everything's starting to roll. We get long. I think the inning we scored 5 against Texas State, we batted around, and it was like a 35-minute inning. And right. I think Javen was pitching at the time. I think he almost had to like get re-warmed up.
Right.
And so I know we had a game earlier this year where Coach Johnson was not happy with the pace of play, and so that has been a big point of emphasis.
I'm sure he politely has told y'all.
Yes.
That we need to figure that out. Well, I appreciate y'all coming on the show. As always, appreciate the G team and everything that y'all do for the athletes here at LSU and everything that y'all have done for us as a show. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate your knowledge of the NIL world. We appreciate your personality because it's great. I love it. And good luck this weekend. Y'all finally get this week.
Can't overlook
play Southeast.
America.
You're right. My buddy's the hitting coach there. Can't overlook him. They just beat ECU.
Why'd you look over him?
I didn't look over him. I just forgot to mention him. But then y'all play Southeastern, and then y'all finally get a normal series at home, right? 3 games against Xavier. So good luck this weekend.
Justin Lohr homecoming.
No, not homecoming.
Well, they're coming home to him.
Yep, they're coming to him.
That's what you get when you make the transfer.
That's it. You come to me, I don't go to you.
Exactly.
No doubt. Okay, we appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all again next week. We'll see you again next week. I don't know who's going to be up. Surprise. It'll be a surprise. It's always a surprise. They're signing new people all the time, so we'll see what happens. We'll see the next one. We'll see you next in the lineup next weekend. Appreciate y'all.
Thank
y'all
you.
Y'all can hang out. Y'all can move around. Y'all can do whatever y'all need to do.